Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the Phightins Final here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy, Matty B. And yeah, that's more like it, man. 14-3 as the Phillies find a way to come alive. And we're going to get into all the nuances around how this team is scoring runs and how they're winning games and how they're doing it and all that. But 14-3 salvaged the series split, and I guess you can be very happy because there's a bunch of positives to talk about in this game. Everything from the offense to the fact that Aaron Nola pitched really well and he pitched really long, as this team kind of did something they never do for Aaron Nola, and that's gave him a 14-run cushion to work with. And that is something that is definitely a positive thing here as the Phillies improve now to 6-10 on the season, and now will take their act to Chicago and battle the Chicago White Sox for the 16th time in franchise history, or I guess the 16th, 17th, and 18th times that the Phillies will play the White Sox starting tomorrow at New Comiskey Park, which I don't think it's called that anymore. That tells you how much I really care about the Chicago White Sox. But before we talk about the White Sox, let's talk about today because there's a lot to talk about on the offensive side. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, Bryson Stott got things headed in the right direction right from the very beginning. After what was it, maybe 45, 50-minute, hour-long rain delay, whatever it was, to start the game, Stott comes out and wakes everybody up with a leadoff home run, his first of the season, to make it 1-0 Phillies. But the Phillies were far from done in that first inning. Next, Brandon Marsh would knock in Trey Turner to make it 2-0. And then Alec Bowman reached on an infield single. Kyle Schwarber would score to make it 3-0 Phillies. And then Jake Cave would come up and double with the bases loaded, would hit a double, and he would clear the bases. And at that point, I actually felt comfortable that the Phillies were going to win this game. I really did. With a 6-0 first inning lead, I actually thought that this was the break open point, and this game was now going to get out of hand for the Cincinnati Reds. 6-0 Phillies, but they were not done. Josh Harrison would knock in Jake Cave to make it 7-0. And then the lineup would flip back over. Turner would reach on an infield single. And Harrison would score to make it 8-0. And then Kyle Schwarber would double in Turner to make it 9-0. And that is what the Phillies, they put up a 9 spot in the first inning to put the stranglehold on the Cincinnati Reds. But the scoring was not done for the Phillies because then the third inning, Castellanos would reach on an infield single. Trey Turner would score to make it 10-0. And then in the bottom of the third inning, the Reds did get on the board. Jonathan India would be able to reach home on a fielding error by Alec Bohm, 10-1. Jake Cave would answer back in the top of the fourth, would drive in Alec Bohm to make it 11-1. The Reds would score in the fourth inning. They put they plate 2. The Phillies then would put 1 up in the fifth inning. Alec Bohm would knock in Brandon Marsh to make it 12-3. JT Realmuto would homer in the 7th inning to make it 13-3. And then Stott would finish off the scoring of the day when he knocked in Brandon Marsh in the 9th inning. 14-3 is your final score today as the Phillies bats came alive in a big way. Offensively, where do we start? Let's go to Bryson Stott, who was 3 for 7 on the day with a run, 2 RBIs, a home run, and a strikeout. I've never seen in my lifetime of following and watching baseball someone actually go to bat 7 times in a 9-inning game. I've seen it in 10, 11, 12-inning games, but for some odd reason, Bryson Stott got to the plate 7 times today, which is an outstanding. It's pretty cool. Obviously, that means other people were doing their job and the ball was moving. Trey Turner, 3 for 3, 3-hit day, an RBI. He did walk twice. Schwarber was 2 for 4 with a run, an RBI, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Brandon Marsh, 4 for 6 on the day, 3 hits. Or 3 runs, an RBI, and a strikeout as well. It just kind of reads like that. Jake Cave was 2 for 6 today, but he did have the run, the big bases loaded double to break things open there in that first inning. He ended up on the day with 4 RBIs, and it was coming up roses for the Phillies offensively. This was the game I think a lot of us were waiting for, but we've seen this before, and then we've seen the Phillies kind of lull out a little bit, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, but let's enjoy this for what it was. On the pitching side of the house for the Phillies, Aaron Nola, as I mentioned, went 6 very strong, effective innings, 5 hits, gave up 3 runs. 2 of them were earned. He struck out 4 and he walked 3. Brogdon, Kimbrel, and Ortiz would come in and finish things up for the Phillies in mop-up roles. On the red side of things, Sessa, who, to be honest with you, should have probably been gone after that first inning, but due to the Cincinnati Reds dealing with the same problem that the Phillies are when it comes to overusage of the bullpen, Bell left him out there for 3 innings. He got tagged for 14 hits, 11 runs. They were all earned, three walks, and he gave up 1 home run. Cruz, Samaritan, Law, and Vossler would pitch as well for the Reds. And there you have 14-3. And life is good again if you're a Phillies fan, everybody, as this team comes back in a big way and answers a lot of skeptics, to include myself today, as they were able to get the series split, moved to 6-10 on the season, and came out offensively chugging along in a 14-3 dismantling of the Cincinnati Reds. Let's look at things around Major League Baseball. Games that are still ongoing right now. These games are late in the top of the ninth. Baltimore is up 7-4 over Chicago. Also in the bottom of the ninth, the A's and the Mets are tied at 3-3. Later on tonight, you got the Rangers and the Astros on your ESPN game. Games that have gone final already. Red Sox over the Angels 2-1. The Nationals over the Guardians 7-6. Yankees over the Twins 2-0. The Rays come back and salvage a game in that series. They win 8-1. The Marlins lose to the Diamondbacks 5-0. The Braves over the Royals 5-4. The Cardinals over the Pirates 5-4. The Cubs over the Dodgers 3-2. Mariners over the Rockies 1-0. The Brewers over the Padres 1-0. And the Giants and Tigers were postponed due to weather issues out there in Detroit. So there's your day in Major League Baseball around the league. And remember, folks, this is the EOP schedule. This is Sunday. We had some AM in the PM, or PM in the AM this morning. You got the all across all the time boys coming up a little bit later tonight, the attacking third. And then me, of course, wrapping things up with the Phightins final here this afternoon. And if you have any workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law issues, questions, or concern, Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300. Tell him EOP, Matty B, and the Phightins final sent you, and he will take great care of you as that's what he does. So, listen, yesterday things were pretty bleak as the Phillies were blown out 13-0. Now, the question I have for everybody out there is this. Can we live like this? Can we live like giving up 13 runs and then coming back and scoring 14 runs the next day? Is that any kind of way to win or to live through a 162-game baseball season? I don't know. It'll make it very exciting. Might give me a heart attack before it's all said and done with. But the Phillies have had a tendency to do this. When they get to their lowest point, they come back and they put a wallop in on somebody, and then they lull back down. So right now the Phillies have an opportunity. 6-10, which, by the way, folks, is the exact same place this team was at this point last year at game 16. They were 6-10. If you recall, for all you Philly stat people out there, the 16th game of last season was the Kyle Schwarber, Angel Hernandez game, the Sunday night game against the Brewers, where the strike zone was everywhere, and then Schwarber got thrown out in the ninth inning because he had just had enough of the poor strike zone calls. But that was the 16th game last year, and that was against the Brewers in a series where I believe the Phillies lost 2 out of 3, and they fell to 6-10 on the season. So here we are, 6-10 in 2023, 6-10 in 2022. I am going to stop making those 2022 comparisons after this day. I'm not going to talk about last year anymore when it comes to the way the team has started. Obviously, it's pretty evident that this team is dealing with some of the same issues that they had last year. So there's no reason to go back into all that. But at 6-10, I'm actually pretty happy where this team is right now. It could be a lot worse. They have not played good baseball. They have not played inspired baseball. They have not played good fundamental baseball. But here they are, only 4 games under 500, and now on their way to play the Chicago White Sox before coming home and playing the Colorado Rockies. They are still in a position to salvage April. As I said, salvage April, not necessarily salvage season. That's not what this is about. It's April. But they're still in a position to salvage April. And they can do it. My thing with April is you always want to finish at 500 and then get some momentum heading into May. So things could be worse. Are they great? They're not. Is there still a lot of problems with this team? There is. But today went a long way. You got Nola, who went 6 very effective innings. And then you got everybody hitting today. And we're going to go over some of the individual stat lines or the team stat lines here in a second. But it was just a pleasure to see certain things happening for this team that really have not been happening on a consistent basis at all. And without further ado, let's take a look at some of those team stat lines on the day. The Phillies did commit an error today, and so did the Reds. Phillies have now committed 6 errors on the season. Not too bad. No stolen bases for either team today. The Phillies hit 2 more home runs. And that was a very positive sign because they scored runs with the small ball, but then they were able to incorporate some of that power into the end of the lineup. Now, this team is not hitting home runs anywhere near as capable of right now. But with 15 home runs now, it's a positive. They hit 3 home runs in this series, or I should say, they hit 4 home runs in this series against the Reds. It is a step in the right direction. They only struck out as a team today 4 times. That is a huge positive for this team. They coming into this game, they were averaging over 10 strikeouts a game. They dropped that down to 9. That's a step in the right direction. The Phillies pitchers, on the other hand, struck out 8 Cincinnati Reds. As they actually continue to do that pretty regularly, they're striking out about 9 batters a game for the other team. And that is, again, another positive thing to see. The walks. Phillies pitchers only issued 3 walks today, folks. 3. That's great. I mean, I can't tell you how good that is. Getting that average down now to about 4 a game. On the other hand, the Phillies batters worked 5 walks. This is winning baseball. That's how you do it. And then the big one, the Phillies knocked out 23 hits on the day. Hitting has not been the problem with this team. They've gotten on base. They just can't seem to get them home. But today, 23 big hits, bringing their season average up to 11 a game. Man, if you're averaging, and that's what averaging 11 hits a game, you shouldn't be 6-10. And you might ask yourself, well, why are they 6-10? Well, I'm about to get into that here in a second. But 11 hits a game, I will take that any day of the week. Runners left in scoring position, a lot better when you look at it in context. 11 for 27 in a game where they scored 14 runs. I can live with that. On the season now, 43 for 165. They got that average up to 260 after today. That's a little bit better. That's kind of as low as you want to go. Now it's all about trending north on that batting average with runners in scoring position, because that's how you do it. They did leave 15 runners on base today. The Phillies did, but again, looking at this holistically, they scored 14 runs. Their total now for the season is 126 runners left on base, which is around 8 a game. That's still way too high. And then, of course, the 14 runs versus 3 runs allowed. Phillies are now up to 74 runs scored for the season, which brings their total up close to 5 a game. And then the opponents are averaging about 5.5 a game. All in all, that's what you do to win baseball games. And that's what the Phillies had to do today. And they did it. And they did it emphatically. Now it's about consistency. Now it's about taking the show on the road to Chicago and doing what they have to do against an inferior White Sox team. And then coming home and then doing what they have to do against an inferior Colorado Rocky team. And that's right, I am saying that. They're inferior. The Phillies are a better team. They got to start playing like it. And today should go a long way into making that a reality. The bullpen got a much-deserved kind of day off today. Aaron Nola got a much-deserved or much anticipated or much expected deep game. And it was just, they gave him 14 runs. Has Aaron Nola ever been given 14 runs to work with before? No, but they gave it to him today. And that is what basically led to success. And you know what else leads to success? And that's Philly sports trips. If you want to travel like the pros, again, take a look at this. This thing is starting to really get sold out. Still got that draft thing going on at the end of the month down in KC that you can travel down there with. And then you got the Denver twofer, I call it. Just go out there and check out the Union and the Phillies. And then get over to their website at www.phillysportstrips.com to see everything else they have to offer this summer. And yeah, and then don't forget EOP. We talked about this. I talked about this yesterday. www.eopsports.com for all your 2023 NFL draft coverage. All you can expect and more, for God's sakes. There's just a ton of it on the website. We got some really special things coming up for draft week. We got drama, talent, unscripted, and then the future is now. So make sure you're looking out for everything that's going to be happening on EOP the week of the draft, and make sure you're checking out everything that we've already done in preparation for that draft, as it's all over the website and on our YouTube channel. Go over there, and don't forget to like and subscribe on said YouTube channel and said website. And if you're looking to get some tickets for the upcoming Colorado Rocky homestand, don't forget we got a 4-game series coming up this weekend, and then right into a 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners. We're heading out to the West Coast ourselves. There's no other place you're going to look for but Sherry's Ticket Town at www.sherrystickets.com. Great prices and no hidden fees for sports, concert, and theater venue tickets. Look no further than Sherry's Ticket Town, family owned and operated since 1946. Head over there, Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10 as well. And then Dolan's Bar and Grill, the best bar and grill in Delco. And don't forget, they got a lot of great stuff coming up. There's some big news coming out for their Wiffle Ball Madness this year. Make sure you're checking that out and staying tuned for that. It's great time. What I've heard, and who knows, Maddie B might actually be in attendance this year. I don't know. Maybe I will. May's a rough month here in the old Maddie B household. Got a lot of stuff going on. My oldest daughter is graduating from high school. I cannot friggin' believe that. But yes. Anyway, so getting back to this game, 14-3, huge game for the Phillies, huge win for the Phillies. Does it solve all the problems? No. Does it solve all the issues? No. Is it a step in the right direction? Absolutely 100% yes. And now it's about consistency. It's about building off of this on to Chicago, on the bigger and better things. Folks, it's going to wrap me up. It's been a pleasure once again to be back here with you tonight. Don't forget, we got you covered all this week and every week for the rest of the season. We'll be back tomorrow talking some Phillies, talking some White Sox. As I mentioned, only the 16th time that the Phillies and White Sox will boogie down and do battle in the history of the Phillies franchise. So check it out. I mean, I am. It's just for the nuance of it all. So we got Phillies, White Sox, and we'll have you covered post-game. Until we talk again, I got one more thing left to ask for. Oh, Harry the K, what you got? He has high hopes. He has